Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another segment of Inmates for Change. My name is Jones. I'm the founder, CEO of the 501c3 not-for-profit Inmates for Change. Our motto is we're breaking the bondage of destructive thinking, and I like to add one mind at a time. Tonight we're going to offer a guest, but before we get to my guest, let me let you guys know what we do. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, Inmates for Change is a reentry services organization, and what we do is we work with individuals who are coming home from prison that have been labeled as returning citizens, and we also work with individuals who have felony convictions in their background. We offer a classroom curriculum that's entitled Path to Purpose, and in that curriculum we offer a 6-week to 6-month curriculum that covers critical thinking, interpersonal interaction. We deal with self-image. We work along the lines of spiritual connectedness, God consciousness. We help individuals go through coping. We also do behavior modification. We work with vocational training linkage. And we also offer another host of services that are too lengthy right now to mention, but they're all like little mini courses and workshops that happen inside of what we're offering. The Inmates for Change Path to Purpose also has a female component that's entitled FLAIR, and the acronym is FLAIR. And this is Female Leadership and, let me look. My wife's gonna kill me on this one. And Image Reconstruction. For some reason, I just had a blank out on that, and I hope that I can sleep on someone's couch tonight. It's about gonna be a beat for me. So what I'm going to do is we're going to give you a moment to check in with us, but let me leave a call-in number for those of you who like to call in, 312-738-1060. Again, 312-738-1060. Those of you who would like to contact us by way of phone, we're going to work with, the phone number is open from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., 773-746-3075. The website is wix.com/inmatesforchange.org, and we're taking email at inmatesforchange@gmail.com. Now I've got this thing running a little high for me today. That's a little too low. Let me make sure I get it right. I would imagine 3 would be the better one. We're going to talk with our producer while we're talking to you on the show tonight. Tonight, sitting to my right, we have a young lady who is one of our success stories with the female leadership and image reconstructive component, FLAIR, and her name is Mrs. Denise Phillips. Now, Mrs. Phillips was one of the special individuals that were coming through. We saw this light in her eyes of a burning desire and a commitment to change her life and her lifestyle. Now, one of the things I wanted to do before we get started with the introductions is let me make sure my phone doesn't do anything crazy, like starting to let people call through and they're not supposed to be here. So, Denise, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Good to see you. You want to speak up so everybody can see you?
I'm doing fine.
Great, good.
Yes.
It's good to see you again.
Thank
I haven't seen her in quite a while, and,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. The situation being that she's gotten her life back and she's on track, and we're going to cover some of her story while we're doing the show tonight. So, are you in tune for answering a couple of questions?
Yes.
All right. Now, I don't want you to be afraid now.
Yes.
All right.
I'm not.
All right. Let's get going. Let me find it. I'm sitting up here messing with you. All right. What was the most challenging situation or series of events that you had to overcome during your process of transitioning through the reentry process?
Well, I was encouraged. I was not. I didn't have any challenges. I don't believe I can call because I was determined to do what I had to do when I re-entered back into society, and I was willing to go to any length that I had to go to be a success story in my life.
Well, that's great. Now, you do know that the library is down the street, right?
Yes.
So we don't have to whisper in here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Denise.
Yeah.
Jones. Hey, how you doing? Don't get nervous with me. You all right now?
Yes.
All right, take a deep breath. Yeah, all right. So I would ask that question again, but hopefully someone back in the booth back there can pump her up. I need you to speak just a little louder for her, because when you see our people doing this,
Yes.
that means they can't hear you.
Okay.
Number two, were there any weak moments in your thinking where you wanted to chuck it all and go back to the grind or on the street corners?
No, because I was very focused and I was determined to succeed. So no, I was not.
I asked for it, didn't I? Okay. Now I'm sweating, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, well let me ask you this. What was the biggest challenge when it came to family support and community investment? Now let me give you a chance to get some background on why I'm asking that question. I know when I came home, I wasn't greeted too well when I got home from my incarceration.
Yes.
The thing that happened, as soon as I came home, my stuff was over at my sister's house, and I'm still standing in state clothes.
Yes.
And she was like, get your stuff out my basement, you know. And I was like, I just got home, you know, what do you, get your stuff out my basement. And now, over the course, I've been home now 8 years.
Yes.
She's regularly said to me, you know, I'm so proud of you now. You really somebody I know and I love you, and I always did, but I just didn't like what you were doing down the street. So that was the thing for the family support. Now I'm gonna give you a chance to answer on that. But the community investment was I trying to get back involved with what was going on and some of the stuff that I saw. I come home and I see dope dealers hanging on the street. I see break-ins happening. I hear about robberies in the area and that kind of thing. So was I willing to get involved in the community? And that's the question that I'm asking to you. So here's the question again. What was the biggest challenge when it came to family support and community investment? You can take them one at a time. What was your biggest challenge when it came to family support?
Well,
Oh, now you're back down to three.
well, for me,
Thank you.
it wasn't really a family issue with me, because I was determined and it didn't matter, because I had built myself up while I was
Okay.
in there. I had really worked on myself and had turned everything over to my higher power, which I choose to call God, and I wasn't going to let anyone get in my way. So as my family didn't accept me when I re-entered back to society, it was okay, because I was willing to go to any length to do what I had to do to stay focused on my life.
And getting it back, I would imagine.
And getting it back. you're
Okay.
right.
Now, how about the community investment? Were you thinking about getting involved, or were there any challenges when you know, you want to go into places and you want to offer some help? Some of us have to start out with service work.
Yes.
And, you know, the thing about I learned about the service work is that it's great for a few weeks or months, but it doesn't feed you. It doesn't bring anything on the table other than the God's spirit that it does nurture.
Yes.
And what was your challenge, if any, that you had with community investment?
Well, for me,
Back to whispering again.
being at the transition home, which is a recovery home,
Yeah.
we had to be involved. So we had to do service work without pay, and I felt an honor to be there, so I was willing to do whatever they asked me to do. And after I was there for a pretty over 6 months, they allowed me to go out to get employment, and then in the process, I went to school to continue to work on myself, to educate myself. So I was willing to go to any length. That's how I look at
Now,
it.
this is some amazing stuff, and I'm so glad to hear that. Now, this is the type of an individual, ladies and gentlemen, that we at Inmates For Change, this is who we work with. Individuals who are determined to turn their lives around, and do what it takes to get through the challenges and the adversities that they're going to be facing. Mrs. Denise Phillips is a prime example of the female determination to get through. A lot of times my show has a lot of male guests on it, and I also speak about male issues and some of the transitional stuff that you're going to face along the male thinking, but it also applies to the female, because a lot of times women have children who are caught up in this separation of family, them being out of the house for the term of their incarceration, coming back trying to get reacquainted with the family again and find their rightful place. And it takes a bit of a toll, but it also takes some determination, some spiritual connectedness, and a little bit of love doesn't hurt along the way. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Now let me say this to you all who are taking the time out to check us out tonight. If you're up for it, give us a call. We're at 312 738-1060. Mrs. Phillips will be more than happy to answer a question that's directed to her, and I'd be more than happy to take your contribution or your question if you decide to call.
May I elaborate a little more on about the
Why are you whispering?
the family? May I elaborate a little more on about my children's situation?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about that.
For me, also, I would like to elaborate a little more about my children when I re-entered back to society. I didn't raise my children.
Okay.
So I didn't have a connection with them. But in this, before I was released, my kids had written me and asked could they have a relationship with me. But prior as we speak today, I still the connection is not as strong as I would like the relationship to be with my children. But we is in a work of process. So,
but it does take time.
Yes.
You know, so give some time. So, how long have you been? Are you off parole now?
Yes.
How long has it been?
7 years.
7 years off parole.
Yes.
How old are the kids?
My daughter is 23 and my son is 27.
So over that course of time, from the time you were incarcerated, and not only to mention the prison of drug addiction, maybe the street hustling and that kind of thing, how many years had passed? I know you said at the top of that conversation you didn't have a lot to do with raising your kids.
Yes.
But I'm sure you still loved your kids, as we all do.
Yes.
But the thing is, between the time of me coming out of that cloud and starting like where you are today,
yes,
how many years had passed before they started reaching? Now, you know, they're cautious, but
it was like about, I say, my son was, I believe my daughter was 18 and my son was like 20 when they wanted to.
So it's about 5-6 years that it's working, and you've been home about 7 years.
Yes.
Right? So I've been home 8, so welcome home. And this is the thing that we're talking about here. How do we retransition and get back into the family and the determination that the women have? Because their struggle in a lot of cases is similar to men, but it's a lot different because of the family factor. You know, women are caregivers and that type of thing. And, you know, they want to get the ball started and get the ball rolling. But we as males, we want everything to be back like it was. And I understand from the women's component, they work toward the change. So what I want to do, again, is offer the opportunity for those of you who are listening and viewing to give us a call at 312-738-1060. Those of you who would be interested in giving us a call at the office, let me see if I can fix this thing, because I've got it sitting in the preset that they have for me here, but it's doing something else. There it is, a little better. Okay. Inmates For Change, our phones are open from 9:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. I said 3 o'clock earlier. Sometimes I take off easy and, you know, I'll leave a little early. 773-746-3075. Our website is wix.com/inmatesforchange.org. And our email is inmatesforchange@gmail. I want to take a moment while I've got the camera on this thing here. I want to show you what the FLAIR leadership looks like. The FLAIR program is Female Leadership and Image Reconstruction. It says in the fine print that you probably can't see, is created and developed for the Path to Purpose initiative. And of course there's our logo and that type of thing. So FLAIR is where Denise met us. It's coming through with the Female Leadership and Image Reconstruction that my wife heads up. So let me take a moment. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a caller. And Denise, now this may be for you or it may be for me, but I need you to speak up, whoever it's for, okay? Hello, caller. Tell us who you are and what your contribution is.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones. This is Ray.
Ray, how you doing, Ray?
Oh, great. You know, this program, I learn so much every week, but the thing I wanted to say was, both teams, like my people say, have much pride in yourselves. Because when your families were down on you, you had enough pride to overcome that and hit your target. A lot of people can't. Oh, well, my family don't want that. They lose right away.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to have all that pride, not only in you, but in your community, in your family, and everybody else. And I really want to say I really enjoy the show, and I want to say this also. So,
Thank you, Ray.
great man, and she has and that young lady there.
Yeah.
I don't believe she has a children 23. Too
See,
young.
there you go. Cut him off this phone. Thanks, Ray. You're something else.
Thank you,
man,
Ray.
Look, hey,
Thank
Ray,
you.
don't pull that again next week, man. I mean it, man. He's sitting up here flirting. Well, that's so good to hear.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, Ray. Don't worry, Otis. We're going to find him. We're going to get him, man. So thanks so much. And that's a great compliment from one of our viewers who calls in from time to time. And it's an honest thing, and it's always good to hear when someone is telling you that, hey, you're doing something good for a change. Because I know how when we were coming through, we were all talking about how they were saying, you always need to be doing this. Why ain't you doing right? Why won't you do right? And this kind of thing to us. So, to hear it now and be most appreciative of it, and we know when it's genuine. And thanks again, Ray, for the comment. Let me ask you back into these questions, Denise, if you don't mind. Would you consider yourself successfully transitioned into family, community, and hopefully corporate America?
Yes.
Okay, how
yes.
so? She go yelling again.
Yes.
That's my girl. Relax, girl.
Well, I want to make sure they hear me.
Well, you got to make sure they hear you. So speak up. Don't yell.
Yes.
All right. So explain, give me some details, but mainly to highlight the successes. How did it go for you transitioning into the family? You said they're coming back slowly, but they're coming. So there are a few battles that you still have to go through, but there's going to be some good times in there as well. Holidays or maybe reunions or something to that effect. And I don't want to fill your space with my conversation. I want you to tell us, how is it that would you consider yourself successfully transitioned back into family, community? And I know you're going to school now, so we're going to get to that as well. So tell us.
For me right now, I'm in the process, me and my kids, building a relationship. And I have 2 grandkids.
What?
2 sons.
You hear that, Ray?
Yes.
Grandbabies, man.
One is 1 and one is 5 months.
Well, congratulations.
And so she brings them up periodically and let me and my husband watch them for her.
That's
and,
sweet. That's sweet. That's a connection.
Yes.
And trust.
I'm grateful for that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Restoring. So maybe that's the way of me giving back.
Okay.
Not maybe God don't really want me to, and maybe it's not our time to have a relationship, me and my daughter, but I'm having a relationship, me and my husband, with the kids.
Cool.
My grandkids, and I'm grateful for that. So they getting to know Papa and Grandma.
Papa and Grandma, ain't that something?
And and with my siblings, we have a bond, and they have forgiven me for the past because they really never seen me in my addiction. They used to hear through my mom.
Okay.
My mother's the one who seen me go through the transition in my addiction, but my siblings, they never seen me.
So is Mama still living?
No, my mother passed away in 2011, and I had just was released from prison in 2010, and I made it through. With the grace of God on my side. Absolutely. I didn't have to use over it because I know we all come here. We are born and we all gonna leave. No one come here to stay.
Absolutely.
But I just thank God my mother did get to see me clean and sober.
There you go. There you go. Now that's a God's gift. But I'm gonna tell you this also. There's a legacy that that our parents wanted us to carry out. I can remember my mother saying to me, you got the intellect to be a doctor.
Yes.
And all you want to be is a gangbanger. Man, what a waste. And so now the legacy that we're getting a chance to give back and grow through is the stuff that this whole thing is made of.
Yes.
Now, what we're going to do, I've got about 3 more questions coming. With the time being, I know we're running kind of close. We got about 5 minutes left. What I want to do is introduce my wife, who's also the head of Flair. But what we're going to do right now is, let me put this thing up here so we can't see her changing seats with us. You slide over towards my left here. Come on in. And I got my wife. I didn't know we didn't have but 5 minutes left. We getting so into it. Come on over, baby. Come on over. Come on over. Here, I'm bringing her in right now. Swing on in here, baby. Look at those. Hey, y'all. Now, this is my wife. This is Mrs. Jones. What do we call you tonight, Miss? What do we call you tonight, Mrs. Jones?
Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones, what else, right? Now, tell us about your relationship with Denise
My
and how you was when
relationship
you all
with
were
this
coming through.
remarkable woman here. When I first saw Denise,
Tell them.
we were in an event in the park for a church event that was helping people from various walks of life, recovery, reentry, and she approached our table and with a bunch of other females. And she just stood out to me because she seemed to be someone very special to me. You could see her wanting, her desire to do something with her life. And I felt compelled to pull her in and bring her in.
You're going to make me cry. I swear.
Into the FLAIR program. She didn't really know that that's what I was doing.
Yes.
But it's been, what, 2 years?
Yes.
2 years I've seen her grow in leaps and bounds. I am so proud of her. It's like she's one of my own. I have a garden of very special flowers, and she's one of them.
I'm going to cry now. That's it. I'm going to cry. So let me ask you this, baby. Mrs. Jones. Of course, you know, I've got to try to shake it sometime because when I've been on these seasons now, this is our second season, and the thing I don't do is I don't bring my wife out in front of the camera. She handles the production and the phones and that kind of thing at the studio. But when we're involved with other individuals' lives along the lines of helping them rebuild, reconnect, and reintegrate, she plays a major, major role. Some of the people I understand call you Mama Jones?
Mama Jones.
Mama Jones, and I know she don't like that. Mother. So mother, okay.
Mom.
Well, you know, so that kind of thing works well, and I'm glad. So what do you see for the future with FLAIR?
With FLAIR, our young women need to know, especially those that are caught in traps, some of which are of their own making, that there is a way out and there is help. But you have to be motivated, self-motivated. You have to have the desire to do so, because there's no knight in shining armor. You have to be your own knight in shining armor. You have to feel and know that you're worthy of something better than what you're in, that you were created to do something other than procreate with someone that doesn't even know you for the most part, and know yourself and have faith in who you are. And faith in a higher power that can take you beyond what you think you're seeing. You know, your failures are just making way for your successes.
There
but
we
you
go.
just have to stick to it.
Yeah, stick to it.
You know,
stick
you have to
it.
stay in there because, you know, you're going to always have this little voice, you can't do this, you can't do that. But you have to listen to that gentleman, that still small voice that says,
come on,
very
you can
quietly,
do it.
you can do it.
That's right. Now let me ask you this, if you don't mind, baby. Denise, is there anybody in your support network that you want to send a shout out to?
Yes.
Tell them right there then.
I would like to send a shout out first and foremost to my husband, Denise Phillips.
Phillips.
I would like to send a shout out to my sister Janetta, Joanne, Spring, and Jean, and my daughter Jasmine and Lamonte, and my two grandkids.
What's the baby's names?
Lamonte and Isaac.
Okay, that's a good guess.
Thank you. And thanks to Mrs. and Mr. Jones for inviting me to come out and share.
And
That's
thank
right.
you for
Being
coming.
strict and how.
So
Thank you.
what we're going to do at this point, I want to let you guys know out there that this was a great show. I really mean that. And this program has been made possible in part by support from the professionals at Mobile Doc. Now, Denise, what are your plans from this point on? Are you in school?
Yes.
You've got about 1 minute to tell us.
Yes, I'm in school at Truman College, and I'm obtaining my associate degree, and I want to be a social worker.
Get down, get down. Well, there it is, you all. I want to tell you all this. Thank you for tuning us in. Ray, thanks again for calling. Those of you who didn't get a chance to call through, we apologize because my wife is sitting right here right now. And thirdly, keep us in your minds and in your hearts and in your prayers, and we're going to see you on the next show. So thanks so much for coming out and tuning in. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.